Okay, let's do this. This is going to be a long one and I'm going to be talking for a minute, so bear with me. First off, I am wearing a shirt, so don't freak out. I'm going to prime my face with my NYX Angel Veil. If you have been watching my videos, which I hope you have, this is my Ride or Die primer. So just like using that all over my face, and then going in with the NYX Total Drop Foundation in the color Deep Sable and using a Morphe brush, because I didn't have the Total Drop brush. I mean, I have it now, but I didn't have it then. But I'm using the E31. Anyway, so I'm just blending this all out. I love this Total Drop Foundation. I do think that the shade specifically is a little bit yellow. But when it's all said and done, it actually did blend out quite nicely, so I'm not mad at it. So I'm just making sure that everything is like super blended. Another thing about this foundation, even though this is not a foundation review, is that I love how matte it dries and how full coverage it is, but it feels like there's nothing on your face. And if you saw how many drops of foundation I put on my face, there were a lot. So I'm going in to do my usual concealing method, which is why I didn't show you all the steps, but I'm using the LA Girl Pro Conceal in Toffee. I guess I should probably be more adventurous with my concealers, but like, I mean, this is just so good. And between this and the Tarte Shape Tape, if you guys have like ride or die concealers or concealers that you actually want to see me review, please comment down below, because I am open to trying new ones. I just like haven't really bothered to find any new ones, I guess. So now I'm setting all of that with the RCMA No Color Powder. I've been switching between this and the Laura Mercier, but what I have been doing is like when I film videos, or I have one day where I'm filming like back to back, I end up using the RCMA because my Laura Mercier is kind of expensive, so I don't want to like, you know, use it all the time and then wash my face right afterwards. So I'm doing my usual setting routine, cut in those cheeks, and then I'm going in with the Studio Fix or Studio Finish in NW45. Studio Fix, Studio Finish. And I'm going over all those areas and wiping away the powder at the same time, but setting the areas that I didn't set with the RCMA. And so for my brows, I'm going to do them off camera, but I'm using the Benefit Precisely My Brow. And now that that is done, I'm just moisturizing my lips because they were dry and crusty. I'm using this NYX, this is Everything Glass, which I love so much. Actually looks really good in pictures as well if you just like need a little health to your lips. So here I'm grabbing this like fishnet stocking and I'm putting it all over my face. This was the funniest, most adventurous thing I've done in a while, and I look so ridiculous, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I love what it does to my nose. So now that I have that secured, I actually clipped it because I wanted to make sure that the mesh didn't shift as I was doing my shadows. So I wanted to make sure I didn't mess it up. So now with the NYX Primal colors, I'm using a bunch of these. So I'm taking that blue primal color and I'm using a brush, which is like actually a blush brush, but I wanted to use really big fat brushes so that everything was, I don't know, very soft. I didn't want like anything to be very harsh, and I mean in application, not in color, because obviously blue is like super harsh. So basically what I'm doing with this blue shadow is I'm going in all the areas of my face that I would generally contour and just taking that blue to start framing my mermaid face. And don't forget that jawline, because you do want it to be snatched even when you're a mermaid. So I'm just going in with that all around my jawline. And so now I picked up the pink primal color with another fluffy brush. I made sure that I chose two different brushes every time because I didn't want it to be muddy, and I just went around the perimeter of my face just in those areas. And that is pretty much the look that you're going for. And so now I'm going to start building up other colors to create dimension. I picked up that blue with a little bit of black primal color, and I started contouring the perimeter of my face. Remember, you're like a mermaid like scowl, so you don't have to have everything perfect. And then I went in with this duochromatic highlighter from NYX as well. I'm using all or most NYX products in this video, so it's not sponsored by NYX, but like NYX products are amazing. So anyway, so I'm highlighting all the kind of high points of my face in this very, I don't know, I feel like this is how a mermaid would wear her highlighter. And then I'm taking that primal color and I'm going to start creating some depth and dimension. I did want to be glam, but I'm definitely still like this ethereal creature. So I went in and I just, I didn't really have a plan. So I just went in and started mapping out where I thought the depth would be. And I really just made sure that I was like making those inner corners deeper, because I feel like my mermaid lady should have deep inner corners. So picking up one lighter shade from those primal colors, I picked up a turquoise because I wanted the color to be a little more green and match with my hair a little more. So I just went slightly lower than I did that first color, but really all over my crease. I'm not looking for perfection or to have everything like really precise, because this is like a costume tutorial. I'm not too concerned about my blending. So with this Vivid Brights color, like, okay, can we just actually take a second to look at how phenomenally pigmented, vibrant, stunning this color is. It is quite dry to hand, so just note that where you apply it is pretty much where it's going to stay. So I ended up using a fluffy brush just to like blend out the edges, but I did think that these Vivid Brights pots were going to be a little bit creamier than they actually were. It might work if you put like a mixing medium in it before, if you want to have it as like a shadow base and put shadows over, but it's not very easy to blend as is. So there I went in with those the primal color, the pink from the primal colors, and I'm just blurring out those edges just to make sure that it looks like a little more blown out, because it was very harsh when I first applied it and difficult to blend out, but in the end it does look very, very pretty. So now I'm taking this Vivid Brights and this teal color and I'm doing a winged liner. I love how this just like made the eyes pop so much and brought in or tied in the color of the hair to the eyes to the everything. Like, I was so for this. I must say I picked up this liquid liner, and I don't know if it's called, the brand's called Cotton Candy, or the color's called Cotton Candy, but the applicator was so stiff that it was actually such a mess, so I didn't even film all of it because I was so irritated. So now I'm adding my scales, which are just these duochrome sequins that I got from Michaels. So I'm using some duo glue. You could probably use spirit gum as well, and I'm just placing them with tweezers, like scale by scale, sequin by sequin, so that they look like scales. I was really excited about this look to add dimension, so I'm trying to do that as much as possible with highlights and little ornaments and sequins that I'm sticking onto my face as well. So now I'm starting to map up the skull part of my mermaid lady, and I'm just doing that with black eyeshadow because I am going to be doing a bunch of blending. The reason I didn't use like a gel liner or a liquid liner for this is because I wanted it to be a little more blown out and a little soft. I also didn't have a reference picture, so if this is not like an accurate representation of what a skull actually looks like it's okay, just do you. I feel like I've seen enough skulls to make this look like interesting and still represent a skull. So now I'm going with that Vivid Brights purple pot again, and I'm mapping out where my teeth are going to be. I actually ended up going over this like a few times, even if you didn't see it on camera. So I would suggest to really do this afterwards, because you'll see what happens in a little bit. So now I'm just mapping out those teeth, like going to the side of my jawline or my cheek, and then in with the primal colors. As you can see, I've like jumped around a whole bunch. I'm going back and forth, but I really didn't have a system. But I'm taking that pink and I'm just blending in to create some depth and dimension, but I wanted to do it with colors and not just black because I didn't want it to be too harsh. And so I go in as well with a blue over that pink, and we just made it deeper and deeper and try to buff it out those black lines, but we'll bring the black in a little bit later as well. So there's that blue primal color, and then now I'm going over with a black just to give it a little more dimension and then blend that out as well. So now going back to work on the teeth, I wanted to flick them a little bit outwards as well. I felt like it worked better with the shape of my face and my lips. I do have like very big lips, so I felt like I needed to give them a little more dimension. And now with the NYX, what do you call this? The SFX cream paint, I'm adding like a blue base just to keep that area a little bit darker around my mouth. I felt like it was a little bit empty and there was so much going on in my face, it needed something. So I used that blue base as a base for my teeth, which are actually going to be in silver. So with that silver SFX paint, I did the one half of my face, but you can see what a difference it makes, like adding that blue base, right? So I'm adding the second half of my face, and honestly at this point I remember looking and I was going, ooh, I don't know how this looks. It doesn't look so pretty, but it did work out in the end. If you are recreating this, you could probably eliminate a few of my steps and still get the same result, but I'm just showing you my process because this is like real talk the way that it happened. This is not as much of a tutorial as it is like a documentation. So there again, I'm taking that blue shadow above and below the teeth, just adding even more dimension and depth. And then for the nose, I'm using that same purple Vivid Brights and going over that. And then I'm going to put some blue shadow over that as well to make it look a little more 3D. I feel like it pulled that nose together. It was looking a little lonely without it. So now for my favorite part, I didn't realize how much of this I'd actually covered with the NYX palette that I was holding up as my mirror, but you guys can kind of get the point of this. I just took Duo glue as well and dotted it onto all the teeth and then added those little diamantes, is what we call them in South Africa. And then I added it to my face as well, just within those little scales that I created with the fishnet. And I wanted to, I don't know, my forehead just looked like bare, and I wanted this to be like a super glam skull, so I added some to my head, and then I added some around my brows, and then I think I stopped after that because I was like, you're doing the most. So I went in with this other duochrome highlighter, which I think that this made it look very fish-like and very like wet-like, which like I think this pulled the look together very, very well. So I just doused myself in this highlighter in all the high points of my cheeks and my forehead and pretty much everywhere that was blank and open. So now to finish up the skull part, I went in with the black from the Primal Colors and just added a little more depth, and then I'm going in with just various shades, mostly purples and blues with fluffy brushes to bring it down to your neck. I think especially for these Halloween looks, it's so important to bring like an element of whatever art you've created on your face, like down to your neck and sometimes down to your chest, so it really looks like a costume, not just like a mask that you put on your face. So this is the final look, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I had so much fun creating it. I felt like it was just like a really good time to just sit down and be creative and not really know where I was going, but I think it turned out wonderfully. If you liked watching this tutorial or video, then definitely give this a thumbs up. It helps me out so much and it lets me know that you're enjoying my videos. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you're notified every single time that I upload a new video, and I will see you in the next one. God bless you, and remember, don't let anybody dim your glitter. Mwah.